We are back on site this morning. The guys have the decking blown off this front porch and everything looks better up here except for, again, 2 foot on center 2x8 joists, which we don't do anymore. That was the thing of the past. And then there's a scab on this one. I'm thinking it's okay though. So we're just gonna double the joists here, 1 foot on center, go back with decking and get rid of all this old stuff. So I guess we're changing out the stringers
I think
too.
so.
I was gonna look at them, but I came up and they were just gone.
I think they need it anyways.
They probably needed
They were
it.
pretty beat up. There's no reason to make this deck look great and then have that.
No.
Hasties there.
Nope, we'll start from scratch, evidently. We ended up putting some of these clips on the chalk line this time instead of face screwing it all. And we're gonna see if that works in just a minute, as far as the board being straight, that is. I think it will. We just did every other to start with.
I'm putting them in.
You know, Jason, if anything, the very end needs to go towards the house. Like it curves towards the parking lot, just like the last foot. I'm prying this board in with a chisel, and Jason was wondering how I'm doing this, like with one hand, because I got to hold this and the drill. What I was doing is just putting my leg on this thing like that, and then going nuts with the drill right here next to it. How you like that move, boys?
Yeah, I think I taught you that. Oh, you like my move? It's a pretty cool move, huh? So what I do is I hold my chisel with my leg, and I can put all these brackets in pretty easy.
Yeah, I see that. That's a cool move.
Yeah. It's weird being in the business as long as you have. I figure you might know that move. I don't know. Battery die?
No, I just couldn't see the blade there. It was completely gummed up. That is so nice. Look at that.
That's awesome. The whole length.
The whole length.
Look.
You can keep that.
That's probably not, I'm losing nipple.
Got good news for you.
Yeah?
This
What is
front
it?
deck went as a redecking job should go.
Yeah, it's
We didn't
looking
have
good.
to tear it to the ground.
Did you have to rip that backboard, or
Yep,
you did?
just a little.
But it looks like nothing happened. I can't tell. That's what I'm saying. So, good job on that.
Closer.
I said great job on that.
Okay.
Y'all are doing great. Man. No, it looks really good. Seriously, though.
Today is new tire day for Jamie on his truck, which is always exciting. I don't know what it is about truck tires that just makes you just real happy. So
It's a manly kind of thing.
we're about to pull in here to the place,
Ooh, I see it.
and he's got bigger tires than he had, and he got them used off of some guy who put them on a Jeep and decided his Jeep couldn't pull them. Ooh, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, those
Yep.
look good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was worried they're gonna be like a little too rough looking, but they're not.
Nah.
That's such a big truck.
And check out my little spoiler on the back of the bed.
Oh, they
See
didn't
that?
shut your bed cover?
No, it won't shut.
Oh.
It won't shut.
Well, congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Used. Half price.
That's it.
And a full-size spare.
Special price
Mounted.
for you. Yeah,
Did you pay for them or do you need to pay for them?
No, I ain't paying for nothing. No, I did.
The homeowner did decide she wants the rails to wrap through here, even though there's obviously a deck on the other side. It doesn't need a railing. Just for the look on this screened in part, it's gonna go there, there, and there. And this will keep somebody from just walking through the screen, I assume. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a railing there.
It will. I think it's very
Or
likely.
pets. They have dogs.
Yeah, I think it's likely that someone would lean up against it or, walk right through it. Not anymore.
So there was this black Tahoe behind me this morning, like
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah.
And it was like high beams riding me real close, so I just thought it was you, you know?
you
So I
got behind him
slowed
and
way
sterilized
down, and the guy was even closer on me. And then I turned up here, and he kept going. I was like, oh, crap. This guy's probably super ticked, so. Sorry, guy. If that was you and you're in that black Tahoe, my apologies. I thought it was him.
I think he should be like 80. He likes to do everything old school. Don't we have like a yellow thing that's a planer that you just go, and it takes it all right off?
So wasn't there a board there when I left yesterday?
There was a board when you left today. Well, there was a problem with this board. It was actually kicking up at an angle, and it's right where you're walking up the steps. And not only that, I maybe could have let it go, but I'm going to be mounting some posts directly to the top of it. And then I've got to cut little bevel angles, and so the more level I get this, it's going to be in my favor for the next steps.
And the more you run that hand plane, the happier your face looks.
I know, till I hit that nail, but don't worry, I got a couple of backups if this one gets reamed out.
Jamie's excavating down to reveal what was supporting our old stair stringers, and I'm pretty sure it was some cat blocks.
There it is. See it?
Yeah. The problem with using these cat blocks like we used to do is that it was rotting out the bottom of the stringers because the stringers were in the dirt a little bit. And that's because we were setting the cat blocks and then cutting the stringers to fit, instead of what we're going to do today is set the stringers above grade and then pour a little concrete pad up to the bottom of them, and that's going to keep them out of the dirt.
I keep trying to tell the homeowner things that'll make her feel better about this. And the only thing I can say is that I built my house the exact same way, and mine rotted out too.
Yeah. And at the time, we looked at the boards, and they said ground contact rated. And we're like, oh, we'll just put them in the ground. That'll be fine. And it was fine for like 15, 20 years. Then you got to redo it. So we're going to try to make it better today. Do we want to dig those all the way out, Jamie?
No, I think
cat
pour
block?
concrete right on top of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be some additional kind of like, solid foundation is what I'm trying to say. A common problem that I've seen a lot, including my house, is that when you build the steps and there's no landscaping or any of the walk path or any of that put in place, you think you build in the right height sticking above the dirt. But when all that landscaping comes in, it will, in essence, like eat up the first step or soak it up, making it level with the top of the step is level with the ground.
Yeah, so this step was level with the top of that little concrete walkway.
Yes, it was flush. Concrete in this first step was flush, making the whole frame under the ground.
Doesn't look great either.
No, I didn't love it. So what we're doing is actually deleting a step, and we've had about 3 or 4 ideas of how we can lose a step somewhere.
Well, you got to make the steps longer.
And have the first step be all above the ground. We thought about just pouring a little concrete pad and filling in that, but they have this unique like rock look stamped concrete.
It's a stamped concrete
with a stain in it, with a clear coat over that. So to get that match perfectly, probably not going to happen. It's going to look like a patch, and the homeowner doesn't like that idea. I don't either. Our next idea was to actually screw some Trex decking down to a concrete pad. That was my next idea. I didn't even tell you that.
I'm glad you didn't tell me that.
If we poured concrete under there and there just was no wood under there, we could just screw that down. But that would be difficult and maybe not recommended.
Yeah.
I was going to have to call Trex and find out if that would be okay. But Arlo actually had the greatest idea of stretching the run.
Yep.
So we normally go for a 10-inch run. We're going to go for a 13-inch run and lose one step. We're actually having the same rise. We're just stretching the run. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening.
One final thing we're going to change on the new stairs, I'm going to show you the old ones here, is that the old ones did not have solid risers. See that? Boom, boom. That is against code now, so we're going to put solid boards in there and cover that up.
Like this.
What is going on?
I don't even know.
This is actually normal, is the crazy part. This is completely everyday. Are you still doing this?
Yes.
It's been like 30 minutes.
You know what Mick Jagger didn't have?
No.
He probably had a lot. He must not have had a hand plane.
Why?
Something about not having any satisfaction. He couldn't get it.
It's the most satisfying thing, he says.
You know what's funny is when my kids say, wow, isn't that so satisfying? Like they watch something. Isn't that satisfying, Dad? I'm like, oh.
Grab a board, son. Let me show you what satisfying is.
We highlighted this on our last little decking project, but for this edge board that has no groove, we're having to modify the clip, like cut one side off. Mm-hmm. And so it'll clip down like this. It'll clip this board, and then it'll just be a spacer to butt into our solid edge of the other one. Jono's taking these cut stringers, and he's going to cut a piece to reinforce the bottom step because of the way the grain is running through, like right there. Really good chance of that splitting. in the future. So we're just gonna beef that up right now. This video is brought to you by Factor Meals, and if you're like me, you get up early and go to work and sometimes don't drag in till after dark. And what I was finding is I was eating food because of convenience that was terrible for me. And I wanted to break that habit, not eat fast food, even though I had very little time to spare. And I have been really happy with Factor's dietitian approved meals that are delivered right to my doorstep. They're fresh, never frozen, have the nutrition goals I need, and they taste amazing. Obviously, Factor meals are way more convenient than going to the store, prepping and cooking a meal of this caliber, but also they are way cheaper than takeout, and they're actually faster than fast food. Most of them cook in 2 minutes. And there's plenty of options, so it's not like I'm eating the same thing every day. There's 34 plus chef prepared, dietitian approved weekly options, and they have eclectic flavors. They're not plain Jane. So this July, get Factor and enjoy eating without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use our code Perkins50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. That's factor75.com. Use code Perkins50 and get 50% off your first box. While these guys get the stair set assembled, we're gonna start with the screening that's gonna go up here. And we're using this EZ screen, I believe it's called, which is kind of a modular track system. That's a piece of it there. And we're gonna just figure it out. We've done this several times, but it's been a while. That's the problem. This stuff is basically two-part. It has a metal piece and then a plastic piece that snaps on over this little rib. And that's what pulls the screening really tight. You don't have to put it up tight. It can be kind of loose. And as you beat these strips on, it really pulls it tight. And it's easy to replace later because you can just pull these off and then pop a new piece of screen on, pop those back on. So that's why we chose this one and why we've used it before. I think a good place to start on a project like this is to cut a couple scraps so we can get the orientation to see how things are gonna go. And Jamie was saying we wanna have this bead facing out everywhere, so I think we'll mount like that here, and then down here we'll have to put it flat down to the deck and screw right there. Then we'll have to miter these somehow. This one might have to run through, I don't know. I think we could just go like that. I think we can just butt them.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there is a way to miter that connection. So I think we can go and cut a couple. Jason's marking the top cap here. This little flange is gonna have to run through and it'll intersect the top cap. So we're gonna have to notch it. Good luck. Highly visible spot.
No pressure. Ray's got it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, touch. So this section here is 10 feet by 8 feet, and it's gonna be one piece of screen, like no dividing piece in there, which I think is close to the maximum allowable like one screen size for this type of system. Do you know the actual number of maximum square footage on this stuff?
They say 150 square feet is the maximum.
Okay, so we're well under. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, if you're around 100, that's good. And I think it only has to do with being able to tension the screen properly when you install that little strip.
Yeah.
You know, that's what actually gives the screen
You only have
the
so much
tension.
tensioning available.
There might be a limitation in length overall, any direction, but I don't know about that.
Well, that's pretty good info. Ray,
Dude, I gotta get this.
Ray, I handed them this piece and it's like impossible around the scaffolding.
I got it.
It's too long. Very entertaining though. There we go. Now we got it. Back up front, and Jamie has this post super lagged in with giant size like Kreg Jig pocket screw on all side. It's an 8-inch GRK, and we're gonna show you how he did that because that's a pretty good way to do it. if you've got a post sleeve to cover it after, like we're gonna have.
Now the decking has solid framing underneath a triple ply girder, so we can't just notch the 6x6 and lap it into the framing, which is our typical way of doing this to get vertical strength, if you will, cantilever strength from the deck framing. And I want to use sort of a pocket hole fashion like a Kreg Jig. Now some things that make the Kreg Jig work though is that the screws have a large washer head, which these do. Not a tapered like deck screw head. And also you need a drill bit that's capable of drilling that long, shallow angled hole. And guess what? I didn't have one. Now they do make plus size pocket hole
So you made one,
stuff.
didn't you?
So I thought, why don't I just take part of a spade bit there or a paddle bit and weld it to the side of a regular bit, and now I can get a big pocket hole.
Why not?
So anyway, it worked out great. I want to show you why you can't just use a regular paddle bit though, because that's important. You might think, well, why don't you just use a paddle bit? I'll show you here. While there might be some other ways to achieve the same thing we're doing, I like this method because it's simple and it's one step. I want to show you this small drill bit here that I have modified by cutting the wing part of the cutter way back in order to try to get an angle. So let's try it. I can get that started and get enough purchase there so it won't pop out, and then I can sort of slowly angle the bit down, and I'm basically achieving the pocket hole, although this one's really dull. All right, now let's step up in size to the size that I want, which this is almost 3/4, and I'm actually using one that's cutting a hole bigger than 3/4. Let's try it with that. Ooh, I was gonna say, man, this is gonna be terrible if this works perfectly. You can see what happened. I got a fair amount of it cut in there, although I was curving it in as I went. Okay, that's sort of a problem. You can see that it spun off of there because the tip wasn't buried in there deep enough to hold it from just spinning right out. All right, now, the bit that I made has the advantage of getting an awesome deep pilot hole that's gonna hold the bit in place, while this one fly cutter here, this little wing cutter, is gonna do the countersink. So I'll step way back here. I'm gonna go almost 90 degrees, or may as well, to get about 1/4 inch deep, and then I can spin it, and I can get my angle that I want here. I'm gonna actually have to back up. Okay, now I have about 2 inches of the bit engaged into the material before this part even start cutting. So I'm just gonna run it wide open with a really slow feed rate here, and it's gonna begin to cut. There we go. It's pretty sharp, by the way. That is critical. Slipping in a chuck. All right, let's stop right there, and you can have a look at that. Something else I've seen people try with a 6x6 post is to use like an anchoring kit that you would use on a newel post inside of a house. Have you seen those? You drill a hole in the side of the post, you drill a hole in the bottom, you have an anchor bolt sticking out, drop the post, you stick a nut in there, and with some great struggle end up tightening the nut. And that works, but outside I don't think that would be as good because it would only have one anchor point in the center. What I'm trying to do though is get this screw to anchor down as vertical as possible, because I think that that's going to give it the best resistance to any kind of side-to-side lateral motion. So it's much like that center vertical attachment, but we're adding 6 of them to this post. I can't get any in the back, but the other ones that are out in the open, I'm gonna put 8 of them in there.
So how long did it take you to make this bit?
I think 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, it was super fast and easy.
Okay.
I mean, way easy. And I don't think you can buy one like this. Maybe.
I don't know. I've never seen one.
Maybe you can.
Somebody leave in the comments. If you've ever bought a bit like that, you're the only person.
I thought of other crazy things. Trust me, this has ended up being the simplest, quickest method to make the bit itself.
Okay.
I thought of different things. Like, what if you took a Forstner bit, right? Because they're great for starting on angles. If you could actually drill a hole down into one, but guess what? They're hardened. So good luck drilling a hole into the end of a drill bit, right? I don't know. Believe me, I thought of it.
That's like steel versus steel. Who wins?
Nobody.
So if it wasn't already obvious, the only downer side to this is that you have these giant like holes in the side of your post that are not really sightly for a finished post. And the reason we can do this, and I mentioned it just a second ago, but just to reiterate, we're going to wrap these in this prefab sleeve that's going to wrap around the entire post and cover the whole post. So that's why we can do it this way. and not have the homeowners be like, oh, there's giant holes in our post. Looks terrible. Although I think that does look pretty awesome. I would want to see the fasteners.
Yeah.
It's like industrial looking.
It's time for you to check out this post and see if you approve, all right? Now go ahead, try to move it.
That thing is like, I'm moving the band. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that thing is solid.
I think it's gonna be great.
So where do you get those $25 special drill bits?
You
for this?
can,
The pocket-
you gotta
pocket?
call me and I'll weld one for you. You know what? I would make one for you just so you can have
I'll
one.
tell you what, I don't know that I need one, but that's a great
You don't have
idea.
to need one. You just have to want it.
Well, that's true. I'm like going, that's an awesome idea.
Next, we're gonna cut these vinyl strips that hold the screen. Hang on there, Chief. My finger's in
I
there.
know, I'm not turning it on.
And we could have cut these with them installed on this, which I have done before, but we didn't do that, and whatever. I think this works about as fast. Now we got to do it. Ray's gonna roll this out and cut us a nice 10-foot piece of screen by himself, because we're standing up here and we don't want to get down.
No, not like that. I mean, I probably would have done it the other way so that the thing rolled down the hill instead of rolling up the hill, but what are you having Greg Norman help you cut that?
It's the shark! I don't know why they need a screen porch. They could just drape the screen right over your head.
Yeah, it looks like you're in Haiti sleeping with a mosquito net.
I've got the bottom, so go middle. We didn't really put any tension on this, and hopefully it's gonna pull it all the way tight. The last piece, hopefully it will. All right, we're gonna see in just a second if this pulls it tighter, if we're gonna have to redo it. What do you think?
I think she's golden.
I mean, I think we could pull it a little tighter if we wanted to, but I don't know that it'd be good for the screen. So I think we'll just leave it. We got it secure. Now we're just gonna take our blade. You guys can just work around.
No.
Just go tight to the thing and that's it. It's hard to film screen. It's like, it looks like nothing. What'd you do? I can't tell, nothing.
Ray, jump into it to show it screened.
So is it feeling right?
Oh, it feels so good.
Oh, it feels so good.